Is saving 15% or more on insurance a good deal? I'm here with
Christine. Did it again.
I did it again. What's your last name? Pronounce it.
Procant.
Christine Procant from Goosehead
Yep.
Insurance. Is it?
What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah. Does it feel good?
It feels good, but is it true?
It's relative, right? It's a marketing tactic. Get your discounts, right? That's the one thing consumers will always say. What discounts did I miss? I don't know. What discounts do you think there are, right? So the industry has wired people to think about discounts. So I think about it a little bit different. 15% of what, right? 15% of what? 15% of 1,000 with terrible coverage, 15% of 5,000 with absolutely Rolls Royce coverage. It's all relative.
So this is what I wanted to meet with you, and we have a newer relationship, but I think you're great. And we got to know each other because I've talked to more insurance agents this year than I ever have since I've owned my first piece of real estate, which is over probably like 25 years now, right? And so my insurance on my multi-units has gone up 25% in 1 year. And I was told I had AAA coverage, I had great coverage on my multi-units, and I blew a gasket because everywhere. And like, I'm okay with the 3%. I'm okay. You can even sell me on a 10% increase. But why am I getting nailed for 25% in 1 year? To me, it was bullshit. So,
And the average right now is 50%.
50%.
50, which means, right, law of averages, it means there's carriers out there giving 100% year over year.
Law of average in Illinois or the country?
Across the country.
Across the country. Why in Illinois, when we don't have too many tornadoes, we don't have earthquakes, we don't have burning fires, why is my policy going up so much? Am I getting hit because of the rest of the country?
You're getting hit because of, yes, the rest of the country, but Illinois is one of the highest catastrophic states in the country.
I call bullshit.
And no one in Illinois believes that. So we'll use 2023 because we don't have numbers from this year yet. But in 2023, there was 24 single billion-dollar events, right? That's the named storms in Florida that you see. It's the wildfires, it's the hurricanes, right? They put a name on it and say, Irene did this, right?
Yep.
So there was that many, and 3 of them were in Illinois.
What were they?
Tornadoes.
Do I need to fly a claim?
Wind and hail. Do you have hail damage? Wind and hail and sewer backup in Chicago. There was 3 different occurrences, dates, where the widespread damage was more than $1 billion. So Illinois is one of these low-key, no one thinks we have catastrophic issues because you don't have the hundreds of homes being lost at a single time. But when everyone has 10,000, 10,000, 10,000 times millions, we've got an issue. Now, you stack on top of that the actual catastrophic locations, right? The hurricanes, all that stuff.
Nobody in Illinois became homeless.
Nope.
Because
but there was enough widespread damage that the total losses are the equivalent of one of the wildfires. Plus, okay, this is an everywhere issue. Claims. Should get your catalytic converter stolen, you should just go to the shop, get the part fixed, move on your way, right? It is now taking weeks for a simple claim, months for mid-sized claims.
So wait a minute, people are filing claims if they lost their catalytic converter?
Yes, that's a whole different.
For real?
For real, yeah. But so claims, the cost of claims, because they are taking so much longer, because supply chains are so delayed, is gone up, right? So now carriers' overheads, insurance carriers' overhead is astronomical. You stack on top of that inflation, right? So inflation used to be the leading driver. It's now like, oh yeah, and plus inflation in the insurance issue. You have carriers leaving markets. So now what happens? Carriers leave markets. The carriers that are left, right? Demand goes up, so do the prices.
So is a lot of carriers leaving Illinois?
I've had 2 carriers in the third quarter announce that they're leaving the personal line space in Illinois and Wisconsin.
And personal line space means?
Home auto.
Home auto.
because they can't make money doing it. Because as Mother Nature and continues to evolve, and weather's going to continue to evolve, we will have more unpredictable weather patterns. These carriers can't
So,
underwrite for it. They can't
so
make
then
money.
tell me, like, because I have real mixed feelings about all the claims, because I've had people stalking. I literally, my contractor, I'm doing a rehab on one of my buildings. If you watch this channel, you've heard me talk about it a bunch of times. One of my contractors is like my HVAC guy. He's like, hey, my cousin's a roofer. Like, you should check him out. I was on your roof he was doing some work because we're venting some pipes. He's like, I suspect he could tell you have roof damage. I was like, whatever. I really wasn't interested. Anyways, he passes my number around. The guy stops by my building, tells me like I can file an insurance claim. Now, I just did maintenance on this roof 2 years ago. I know it doesn't need it. And so here's where I'm at with this whole hail damage, which I have plenty of friends who have filed claims. My mother even was calling me about what she should do. She had damage to her gutters, her downspouts, her garage door, all this stuff. And she's all anxious and worried. The whole neighborhood, everybody's pitching her flyers, knocking on her door. What should I do? I was like, just wait. Let me send my roofer over there to really get an idea of what's going on. What level of damage is, it seems like if I have a shingle and say it's a 25-year shingle, I've had it for 10 years, there's maybe a 10% damage to it. People are getting a brand new roof. How is that possible?
So,
I mean, I've been in accidents and like they are trying to figure out my skid mark, the other person's skid mark. Based off that, I have 10% responsibility. They have 75%. Like they seem to have like a real textbook formula on how to estimate, but housing repairs, it doesn't. Like,
they have it on housing repairs as well. So a roof claim is the single most challenging isolated claim, right? It's just filing a claim for the roof. But what people don't know, and these storm chasers, they come and prey on people. They knock on the door and say, hey, you have damage. We'll take care of it. Sign here. We'll handle it, right? And now people are signing on that dotted line, and they have to pay them for the roof, whether insurance pays for it or not. But you can have marks on your roof. An adjuster is going to come out and measure, is this aesthetic damage or is it integrity damage?
Yep.
If there's integrity damage, now it's an insurance issue because they don't want damage to the roof to become water on the inside, yada, yada, yada.
Absolutely.
But just a bunch of scratches and dings from hail on the roof shingle, people think because someone is telling them, yes, you have a claim.
But even some smaller granules off it doesn't mean the shingle's shot.
They don't know. And so if they have a professional roofer standing at the door saying, sir,
listen, I called my roofer. I was like, get on my mom's roof.
Yeah.
Take some photos. Tell me, give me a proposal, give me a report, let me know what's going on. So then we had a conversation so I make an informed decision about what we should be doing with her roof.
I think a lot of times.
But how are they getting all this money? I have another buddy, he's getting 40G.
Yeah.
For his roof.
Yeah.
He has a flat roof.
Yep.
I know he doesn't have that much damage.
I'm sure not. So it all comes, right, humans are involved, so it's like the wild, wild west. But it all comes down to how the adjuster receives that damage, how they adjust it based on the policy coverage. Your buddy's getting 40 grand, but a lot of people, they file these claims, they're not getting anything. So now they have claims that are going against their insurance record. They're getting a depreciated value. So on the 40 grand roof, they're getting 4K, and now they're left figuring out what to do with the rest, right?
Yeah.
So it's really this perfect storm of service providers.
But the claims are going up. You said there's billions of dollars of money going out. So how are they getting all this? Like, it seems like lots of people are getting brand new roofs.
I think it's relative, right? Because I see a lot of clients get roof denials as well.
Okay.
So for every client that gets a new roof, there's another client that filed that same claim. They just don't have enough damage for it, but someone told them they did. So they filed the claim, right? So the losses, the perceived losses are probably double because you have everyone trying to get the new roof that doesn't need the new roof. But their neighbor got one, right? Why can't they?
So
well, there's a whole bunch of reasons why.
Tell me when I should be filing a claim on the home.
Yeah. So I look at insurance as a response to unpreventable issues that you cannot or are not willing to pay for. And can and willing are two different things, and they look different for every family. But you also have to look at this as it's going to follow you for 5 years, right? So I see insurance as a financing tool. Something happens, they're going to pay you the money if it's covered, and over 5 years, you better bet your bottom dollar you're going to pay it back, right? In your increases over the next 5 years. So if a claim is getting filed and over the next 5 years, you're going to end up paying more for what has happened, they're making money off of that.
All right, so let's pause it. Say I've paid my insurance. I'm a good example. I've been in my current home 17 plus years. I filed one claim. Someone broke into my car, and I tell you, they got a lot of stuff. It was a lot of money. And the auto insurance said, no, that's a homeowner's claim.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I never filed a claim. I was like, screw it. Let's just do it, and let's get the money for it. Because it was in the tens of thousands of dollars.
Don't
So,
keep nice stuff in your car.
trust me, it was hidden. It wasn't exposed.
Yeah.
I was so
No one
angry.
is safe.
I was so angry. I tracked down where my laptop was that night.
People will break in over like charging
I tracked down
cables.
where my laptop
Yeah.
was. It was at a 6 unit, so I was out of luck. Otherwise, I was banging on that door.
Yeah.
That's a whole different story.
That's funny.
But so you're saying, even though I paid insurance for 12 years, now that I filed a claim, my rate's going to go up the next 5 years so they can get their money back from me?
It has nothing to do with what you've paid in.
I already
So-
paid into them for 12 years. They have plenty of money from me.
Yeah, but you just said everyone's getting new roofs. It is a shared risk environment. So what we all pay in as premiums, it doesn't go into a folder that says this is Mark's bucket, right?
It should be Mark's bucket.
It's not Mark's bucket. It's everyone's.
Get your hands out of my bucket.
My hands are, so everyone's hands are in the same cookie jar, right? So it's a shared risk environment. So we all pay in, and when your neighbors are all filing for those $40,000 roofs, you're about to pay for it, right? When the hurricane hits Florida, we pay for it.
And that is like the ethical dilemma for me, because I was I'm seeing people get these repairs and filing these claims, and I was just like, I'm not filing a claim. I'm not filing a claim on my multi. I don't need it.
And you shouldn't.
Maybe I'm a sucker. Maybe some of you listeners, maybe that's a Reddit. Am I a sucker? Maybe am I the asshole for not filing a claim? Maybe I am the sucker. Maybe I'm just not a true capitalist, but
I think
that's kind of the way I feel, and that's where I feel about where insurance is going. So we've gone down this rabbit hole. The money's in a pool. So let's talk about where people can expect their insurance premiums to go. Because mine went up 25% this year. What should I expect in 3 more years?
And
in Illinois?
Yeah. We should actually save this, so if it comes true, I should win something. But
what are you going to win? You're in the industry. You are winning.
Insurance goes only one direction. It goes up. We've seen over the last couple years 26%, 50% on average. We've been in this 40 to 50% on average for 3 years now. It's formally called a hard insurance market. As I'm talking with carriers, they are starting to see slight profitability. They're starting to soften on rate filing. So they file these increases that the states have to approve them. So it's the state of Illinois that says, yes, you can put this rate into the market. Yes, you can hit consumers with this rate increase. It isn't just Progressive saying, this year we feel like a 72% profit increase. It isn't that. They have to put a compelling business reason in front of the state department to say, we want to file this rate increase, and it gets negotiated. So that's where you see California is a good example. California carriers are leaving left and right because the state won't allow them to raise their rates. They can't make money in the state without raising the rates, so they're just leaving. So it's really this toss-up of You either pay more for private insurance or you live in Florida where there's one option and you are at the mercy of that carrier. And you couldn't pay me to own a home in that situation. It's so where do we go in 3 years? I think we continue to see rates increase in the double digits for the next couple years. I don't predict that these carriers can gain profitability without being able to accurately underwrite for the losses. And they can't underwrite for the losses because people are using insurance so differently than they ever did. They're using it for the $1,000, the $2,000. These aren't things insurance are for. This is what a savings account is for, but they're being squeezed. So the average American doesn't have a safety net that's appropriate and can get them out of these pinches. So they have to use insurance, right? So those losses just keep climbing and we're going to pay for it.
So you think my insurance is going to triple in 3 years? Double?
At least double. I would be shocked if it doesn't. And that may come in a couple different ways, right? It could come as pure rate. It could come as deductible adjustment. So a deductible increase would say, great, your rate's going to hold steady, but now you can't use this policy until the loss is above X amount of dollars. Texas is a good example. They're approaching 2 to 3% wind or hail deductibles. That means if you own a home in Texas, you are self-insuring your roof, period. You're self-insuring your roof.
Explain that to me again.
If,
you lost me.
If you have an $800,000 home in Texas, okay, 1% deductible, $8,000 means you're not filing a claim unless it's over $8,000. Okay, 2% deductible. Now you're sitting at $16,000. 3%. Now you're sitting at $24,000 deductible. Right? Is my math right on that? I don't think it is.
I wasn't doing the math that way, but that's fine.
So you get to a certain amount, right? And now it says you can't file a claim until it's 30 grand. You can get a new roof for 30 grand. Right. So the usability, because everyone is using insurance and the industry is getting squeezed, the usability will decrease and that onus will be on us.
So now I'm going to really pick on you.
I think my math was wrong.
I don't know. Well, if it's 8% for 10 or 1%, 800, 1% is 8,000. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, okay. It's late.
So we also started, our relationship began because my former agent was just, hey, Mark, it's time to renew. Here's your renewal. And there's no discussion. There's no, oops, sorry, this went up by 50%, or oops, this is happening. Like, it's just like, hey, just sign here and thanks. And I'm just like, well, I need to get in that industry because I work my ass off to secure clients and maintain repeat clients more than likely. So I was just like, yo, slow the roll, bro. Like, explain what the hell's going on here. And I kind of got pissy with that level of service. And so it raises my back hairs or my eyebrows in that, like, if I'm not really looking at this renewal closely, I could be getting sucker punched. I can look at it and see my
100%.
premium hasn't changed, but my deductible went up by 2%. So really, if I really need to file a claim, I'm screwed. So I know my father always said, read the fine print, but in today's age and how busy we are.
There's a lot of it, yeah.
And part of this, and this is what I like about you, and this is why I changed agents, and this is a plug for you, is, like I really asked you, like, just don't blow smoke up I came to you because I wanted a certain level of service. And if I'm going to refer my clients to you, I want them to have a certain level of service. So that doesn't happen. So you are actually just not saying, hey, sent this to you, DocuSign, just sign there, renew this policy, baby, send us your AG. So how does renewals work, and what's the standard in the industry? What, as a consumer, should we expect from our insurance agent?
Yeah. you should be asking that question when you buy the policy. So I have thousands of clients, right? And figure they all have 2 policies. The cadence at which you want to review your insurance is different than the cadence I want to review. It's different than your neighbor. Everybody has a different preference. The average consumer looks at insurance once every 7 years. They switch it. So
time out. What do you think the average consumer would want to know before renewing?
right, you'd be surprised.
I'd want to know, is my price going up? Do I get good
Yeah.
coverage? And is my deductible going
Yeah,
up?
so what I would say is, as a consumer, you need to advocate for yourself when it comes to this. I do not proactively reshop all of my clients. I don't. It's not possible. It's literally not possible. And not every client wants it, and there's not always a reason to do it. But I will always reshop a client that says, "Hey, Christine, let's see what's going on in the market." Perfect. I love it. So if I know that cadence is you want to look at it every year, we're going to look at it every single year. And I might not have great news, but I will have news. I have clients who say, you know what, Christine, if we could just do this every 3 to 5 years, that would be great. Perfect. I'm going to do that. I have other clients that don't know, and I put that onus on them. You contact me at renewal, and we will shop this entire market again. But unlike your repeat clients, I make $50 on a policy, so I
So
can't.
you don't think the average person wants to know if the rates are going, if it's costing them more
I can
money
tell
or not?
you for certain they do not care. We make outbound phone calls. Hey, so and so, we're looking at your account. We're seeing some efficiencies to move you over here. They do not call back. They do not email back. Consumers are buried by information, and until it is on the top of their to-do list, and insurance gets pushed to the bottom over and over and over at every household, until it hits the top and it's burning a hole in their pocket, no.
Wow.
You're a unique consumer. You're very involved, as you should be. And this is why I say you have to advocate for yourself, because I, as the agent, am not proactively calling all my clients to say.
I guess I always want to know if I'm spending more, am I getting the same service?
And you should want to know that.
And you know, and
Yep.
what's it costing me? Because, you know, everything just
Most
same thing with taxes.
consumers do not look at it like
keeps
that.
going up. Not that I'm not super involved. For the most part, I try to trust the professionals I hire to cover my ass. As my father would say, cover your ass.
Mhm.
And that's, you know, literally that's what I'm looking for people. Same thing with my accountant. He's like, I sent you the report. What do you think? I was like, listen, this is the trust. This is the trust. I trust that you're doing the right thing and that you're not going to go to jail and I'm not going to go to jail. So if you tell me this is what I owe, this is what I owe, but I'm not going to go start studying all these numbers and figuring it all out. It's above my pay grade. It's not the best use of my time. Maybe I'm just sticking my head in the sand too much. All right, now I have another question for you, because these are all my pet peeves. I guess I'm talking my pet peeves.
I love that.
So I'm at the grocery store. I'm going to get into my car, and I'm like, God damn it. Someone swiped my car. And whenever this happens to me, I literally think, like, that must have happened weeks ago, and I just never noticed it. And then I get to my car door, and there's this note. And it says, call me. I saw the person who hit your car. I was like, holy shit.
That's kind.
That's, hell yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
So I pick up the phone, and she goes, hey, I'm right behind you with the cops. Oh, this is freaking awesome.
Amazing.
So I go up to her, go up to the cop, and cop's like, she's like, so that's your Tesla? You got a Tesla? I was like, yeah. She goes, don't they have cameras? It's like, oh my God, we do. So we go on the computer of the car, and literally I see this lady hitting my car.
I love it.
She hits the car. You see my car shake. You see her stop. Then she goes and parks her car. Then she gets out of her car, and this is all on camera. Comes up to my car, rubs the shit down. She's like, oh shit, I did fucked up your car. And then she looks at the camera, and then she walks away. So I'm like, hell yeah, show it to the cop. The cop takes her phone, records the video off my camera in my car. I'm like, hell yeah, this is awesome. Like, first time some real justice is going to happen. I've been hit and run so many goddamn times. Like, I'm like super excited. I'm texting my family, send them the video, like, hell yeah,
You
it's a
still don't know
win.
who the lady
This is
though.
awesome, right?
You're just like waiting for her to
I
walk
I have
out.
her plates. I have her
Oh,
plates.
her plates.
Her car literally hits the car. She stops and the plates are right there. So this is freaking awesome, right?
Okay, I'm ready. What'd the police do?
She's like, here's my number. Call me. And like, all right, call her next day to get the police report. Yeah. No insurance. Sorry, there's nothing we can do.
Nothing. Yeah.
How the hell are people getting cars, driving cars with no car insurance? This is probably the fourth time I've been hit or sideswiped with no auto insurance. And every time I got to get my plates, renew my driver's license, I got to show my policy number, I got to show my card. Like, what's the hell happening?
So there's that's terrible. Bad luck. Very bad luck.
Bad luck. I think this comes down to how many hours do you drive in a year, right? And what the areas you are driving in, right? So I am driving in the city nonstop.
Yeah.
I drive probably 2 hours a day, bare minimum, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Do the math. And I'm parked everywhere in the city. So like, yeah, shit, my shit's fair game.
So you are required by the state to have insurance. They audit this. You will get, if you don't have insurance, you will get a letter. They suspend license. There's all these people with suspended license. But if you don't register your vehicle to the state, they don't know you have a vehicle. So if that vehicle is registered somewhere else, or they just have a suspended license, they don't have a lien on the car. There's all these different ways that require insurance. And so if you don't have one of those, they're just rolling the dice. People can't afford insurance.
So what's the consequence?
To them, nothing.
Nothing?
They'll get a fine. They'll get a fine in the mail. They'll get a ticket. They'll get a suspended license. They'll go to court. They'll take a class. They'll get it back. And round we go. It's a money, I would
What's the
say it's a
fine?
money maker. I'm not positive on it. I think it's state specific.
So you think it's a way the state generates income?
Oh, it for certain is. Think about parking tickets, right? Because so I'll get clients that get these letters and they'll send it to me and say, hey, Christine, can you tell the state I have insurance? Perfect. We'll log into the system, let the state know they do have insurance. Sometimes these letters happen if you switch insurance. They might get a notice that says so-and-so's insurance was canceled, and then they never get notice that the new insurance started. But if it has gone to suspension, you have to pay a fine right online. It's like $50 or $100 just to pay to get it back out to show proof that you had it, let alone if you actually don't have insurance, then it's, I don't know what the process is, but it's hundreds and hundreds of dollars times millions of people, right?
Wow.
That's bonkers.
It's
But I love
It's fucking hysterical.
So it's wild, these cameras. I have a client right now. They were just in an accident. They're a Tesla owner. Someone hit them, and that person is trying to argue, no, I didn't hit you. You caused this. And so the footage is in review right now. I just talked to the people today. It's in review right now. And it's a little bit unclear. And so it isn't, in fact, helping them.
Oh, interesting.
So I think
So
it can
kinda
like
really
help
depends.
and harm.
Like my car was like the other thing that I liked
Yeah.
about this car is like you heard me. I filed a claim. When I filed that claim for my car being broken into, I had 3 pairs of glasses stolen. They
Yeah.
were all in the console. I had my laptop, an iPad, 2 pairs of gym shoes. Like I had a ton of shit. My stuff was under the bag. When I bought this Tesla, one of my wife's first questions when we're looking at cars, she's like,
Yeah.
"What happens?" The car gets broken into. Like literally, if you walk up to the car too close, can say something. It has cameras at all angles, so if you're breaking into it, you're likely going to be caught on camera. And most people who are doing like smash and grab know that about the Teslas
For
now.
sure.
So it's
Yeah,
like
100%.
it's like the cameras. It's real
It's a
deterrent. It's
deterrent.
literally
Yeah.
the lady. The plates are there.
I love that
she's
she
rubbing.
tries to wipe
Yeah,
it
she
off.
rubs it down. It's like she's like, yeah, it's all right, not that bad.
You know what?
It's like,
What are you going to do?
so let's give a little more educational. Pros and cons. Like here's another interesting fact. So I bought a house in Idaho, log cabin. Love this place. Maybe this tip that you just leaked out about Florida, I should have considered when I was buying this house. But I gave it to a couple of my people about insuring the property. No one could insure it for
Yeah.
me. So literally, I called the agent, the broker on the deal, and I said, "Listen, I can't get insurance on this house. I can't close on this if I don't get insurance. Like, talk to the sellers. Who are they using?" So they're using State Farm. So I was like, "All right, like, let's go with State Farm. Like, it is what it is."
For sure.
But I don't know if that's the only carrier in Idaho where I live that's insuring homes, or one of the only carriers that insure a log cabin. Like
It's a
that.
log home. And part of the challenge with that is as these underwriting requirements, as these carriers' appetites for the type of properties changes over time, you may be buying a property and so what could have happened is those sellers could have said, "We have State Farm." And as a current consumer, you could have gone to State Farm and there is a chance they would have said, "No, we no longer take that type of property." But they grandfather properties in. So that's why the sellers could have had them and you could have been turned away. Now you got lucky, they still take log homes. So that's a great solution. But as that appetite changes over time, there are certain types of property that are going to be incredibly hard to insure. Like log is definitely one of them. If you're in a wildfire area, I don't.
No.
It's like adds a whole different layer.
But there's potential, and of course there's no fire hydrants in this subdivision.
No, of course not. Right? Yeah, of course not.
So where I was going with this, pros and cons, going to like a company like State Farm,
Sure.
or Goosehead.
Yeah, both. So I think choice is necessary in insurance. Period. It is not a one size fits most.
I hate that I only have ComEd and People's Gas.
Hate it, right? Hate it. Okay.
Let's get some competition out there.
Yeah.
Except Google Chrome, I really do love.
Okay, there you go. But every insurance carrier wants a different type of consumer. So think of it like a bunch of boxes. If you fit into that carrier's box, right? The age of the house, the age of the roof, your credit score, your insurance history, all these things fit neatly in that risk profile of that carrier.
Yeah.
They're going to rate you very, very well. If you fit kind of in, but you're inching out, right? They're still going to rate you decently, but we're going to start to see an increase. If you slide out of that little sweet box.
Why would I be sliding out of those boxes?
The home could be older. You could have a claim on your history. You could have prior bad insurance.
If the home is older, is that a knock? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's becoming a terrible thing.
Why?
Carriers have limits because the older the home, the higher the propensity for
I
issues.
would put all my old buildings against any new construction over the last 20 years, no matter what, in
forgetting
Chicago.
that you're a great home owner. You're a great property owner. So you're updating the plumbing. You're updating electric. Most people buy the 100-year-old home and they've got galvanized plumbing. They've got circuit breakers. I mean, they're spending all the money on buying the house. They don't have the money to fix it. And so the older the home, the higher the propensity for issues, period. Like you can't refute that. Now, is it going to blow down? I'll take my 100-year-old brick home
Hell yeah.
over new construction any day in a storm, period. Like my house isn't going to burn down. It's not going to blow down, none of that. But so you're inching out of that preference, right? So if carrier says, we want these characteristics, and if you're missing one of them, okay, now we start moving out.
But the carrier makes the assumption. How do they get the proper data?
Oh, they have millions of clients, decades of insurance history, billions of claims. All of that feeds into, they have actuaries doing the data.
So they're just the data's being
plugging it in.
Plugging it in.
Yep. So I always tell people, I'm going to quote 28 carriers. I know I'm quoting 31 carriers. That's a really good sampling. I don't have access to all the carriers that are out there, right? So great, get a quote from State Farm. I'll help you compare.
So break it down. 3 reasons to go with State Farm versus, because you are more of a insurance brokerage.
Yep.
Versus, how would you categorize State Farm?
A captive carrier. They have one option, take it or leave it. You either fit the mold or you don't. But my plug is not to either use someone like myself or use a captive agent. My plug is be educated on options and let coverage dictate your decision, period. Do not go to one carrier because it's just bottom barrel pricing. It's going to become incredibly expensive.
How do I compare apples to apples then?
Insurance is always apples and oranges, but what one carrier calls something is not what another carrier calls it. So it's really hard, but that's where someone like myself or a trusted agent will come into play and put together a comparison of all the options. When ones you've sourced, I just did one. They got a quote from State Farm, USAA, AAA, what I came up with. We spread it across a comparison chart. Here's your advantage, here's your disadvantage. Let's make the best decision. I'm not too proud to think I have the right fit for everybody.
Yeah.
I want people to have the right fit. And if it happens to be with me, brilliant. But things evolve over time. So you may have to go with a State Farm because you've got a log home. And one day that may change. And if I took good care of you at that time, you'll seek my expertise again,
you're
right?
great.
Yeah.
You're great.
So I think choice is imperative for consumers.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they wanted to reach you, what's the best way to reach you?
Best way to reach me is phone or email. So I'm sure you can share my email
Yeah,
content.
we'll put it on here.
Phone, text, email,
Perfect.
carrier pigeon.
Perfect.